Rachel, and today we have another Did It Deserve 1 Star? Except this is a DNF review because I fucking refuse. I recently did a video on JM Arlen, who was an author behaving badly. Video is linked down below. JM Arlen wrote a book and it's terrible. Does it deserve 1 star? In my opinion, yes. I only finished 20%. I physically could not make my eyes do anymore. I can't do it. This currently holds like a 1.59 on Goodreads, and it fucking deserves it. This man said that he spent $2,500 on editing and stuff. There's no fucking way. I call bullshit. Was that editor a preschooler? It's the only way in which that makes sense. My God, what would a preschooler buy with $2,500? Okay. I'm going to try very hard to give you notes on what I read because I only read to 20% and I said no more. No more. No. This is the stupidest shit I've ever read. It's not even like funny stupid. It's just bad. And the audacity of this man to think that this was a publishable work. My God. Beyond the dimension doors is a land called Talmoria, a land that doesn't exist, where crystals carrying incredible powers once came down from the stars like rain. Among them was just one blue stone, the most powerful of all the magic crystals. For years, the stone lay dormant, lost to the decay of time, until it was given to Mani by King Duke Mott. Now only she can control its powers. Only she can decide the fate of the land and solve an incurable disease. But when she learns that the price to cure that disease is the lives of all the Torchwings in the south, she can no longer stomach what she has to do. Mani must decide if she's brave enough to give up everything she used to know for what she believes is right, at the risk of an extinction of an entire species. This book is all narration. It is all narration. Nothing actually happens. Everything is just narrated to you. Similar to how I am going to describe you things, like narrate it back to you. Imagine having a book review in the place of reading a book. No thank you, right? There's a reason that you find a review to determine whether or not the book is gonna be like a match for you. They're not a substitute for each other. Narrating a book instead of writing it and developing things, like developing the place that you have, developing your characters, developing their relationships, developing your plot. We start out and we are apparently in the land of Talmoria, and Mani is living in a tower. We never see King Dukemont as far as I got into 20%. And a lot happened, but all of it was narrated at me instead of dialogue and developing. It was so fucking weird. So up to this tower climbs Victoria, who's apparently Mani's friend, but we never see any sort of friendship. And Victoria's like, ooh, I'm gonna take that crystal because I think I could do a better job. And she's like, Mani, I'm taking your crystal, yank. And Mani's like, no, don't take my crystal. And Victoria's like, do you know what King Dukemont keeps in that room down the hall? Bunch of Torchwings. And Mani's like, that's not true. Ugh, gross. And so Victoria tries to leave, and she's like holding onto a rope from the tower that Mani lives in, because for some reason Mani lives in a tower. And Victoria falls, and because Mani used her electricity to try to like zap Victoria into letting go of her crystal, Victoria falls and dies. If this is supposed to be emotional, it certainly was not for me. I didn't give a fuck. Mani's like, oh my God, I killed somebody. That sucks. So then she goes to that room that Victoria was talking about. She's like, wow, there are glass jars everywhere. These look like the glass jars that we keep the Torchwings in. Fairies. Apparently the Torchwings don't eat or drink. I don't know. That they're never explained on page. They just apparently live in jars. And she has 3 of them she keeps as pets. Okay. So like it's okay for her to have Torchwings that live in jars in her room, but for some reason, because the king keeps a secret room full of the Torchwings, that's bad? I don't know. I don't get it. So she's like, I know. And she like slaps one of the jars and she's like, since there's probably a fairy Torchwing inside of this jar, I know, here, you just free your friends. I'm gonna dip. And so she leaves. And she's like, I gotta get out of here. So we never see her interact with literally anybody at the palace. There's no King Dukemont, there's nothing. We never see her interact with anybody except Victoria, who she killed. Then she dips. She runs out of there, she hightails it. She's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Because apparently keeping fairies, Torchwings, in a room full of jars of them is bad, but not if she does it. I don't know. So she dips, and my God, this really feels like it was written by an 11-year-old. She dips, she runs away. She is hiding, and she's like about to die because she's been on her own. She has no food, she has no water. She took her fairy friends in the jars with her. Why she doesn't just let them go, I have no idea. She never talks to them. And she serendipitously runs across a nice man. She's like, please, I'm dying. I'm so hungry and thirsty. I'm not gonna live. And he's like, don't worry, I am conveniently a nice guy. And he takes her home, and he's like, listen, I'll have you just like live in the secret room, and you know, you'll be okay here, and I'll protect you. And like time passes by, how much time I don't even know. And he's like, Maney, you and I, we're gonna fix this crystal together. He's like going out and about trying to find ways to like fix the crystal, recharge it. And then he goes out and he finds like a recharging crystal thing, and he brings it back, and it fucking explodes, and it doesn't work. This is so stupid and convoluted. And then suddenly soldiers show up, and they're like, we're looking for Maney. And so Maney's like, oh no. And then Daniel, the guy who took her in, gets like fucking sliced, and she's like, no, Daniel. And he's like, run, Maney. So she runs to this mountain, which keeps being referred to as an empty dot, which was really weird and jarring. I don't know why he did that. And somehow, which I do not remember, somehow a portal gets opened to our world. Okay, so Maney is now in our world and is just like walking through snow, and she's like, well, I'm getting hypothermic, I'm gonna die, this sucks. And along comes the scene, the bear scene. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is probably going to be several pages long. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the author did that he referred to as like the best scene in literature, right? When I tell you that this shit was like 2 paragraphs long and nothing fucking happened, I am overselling it to you. Oh yeah, and he says stupid shit like, there was the possibility that it was like the first door, but it wasn't like the first door. It was different. Wow. A+ writing there, sir. Thank you for that. Wow. All my notes just say things like what, and oh for fuck's sake. Where's the fucking bear scene? It's so small, it's hard to find. Okay, here we are. Alright, so she's getting like really nervous. She's hearing stuff, and all of a sudden something swipes at her arm, okay? And with a swipe and a grunt, a massive force ripped at Maney's arm. She screamed as the collision knocked her into a pile of snow nearby. She brushed the frost off her face as pain filtered into focus. Shocking, burning jolts streamed straight to her forehead. Maney was horrified and awestruck, unable to completely decide what had happened. She rolled to her back and clutched her right shoulder, feeling hot liquid pour over her frozen fingers in great quantities. She looked to the place where she had been standing before and noticed a large shadowy object lurching into view. It was groaning with hungry rage, and every step sounded like a hammer striking the earth. A purple bolt of lightning ripped across the sky, lighting the forest once again, and Maney immediately realized that the approaching dark object was a massive hungry brown bear. Maney flung her arm towards the animal, and a bolt of blue lightning snapped there's a typo. Snapped out from the center of her left palm. So she has another crystal, and I guess that purple crystal causes her to be able to do lightning. Why does she have 2 crystals? I don't fucking know. It was never said. The bolt collided with the bear and exploded, throwing the creature across the forest in a glowing ball of red fire and black smoke. Flashes and firelight enveloped the clearing in the trees as the bear struck a trunk beside a nearby snowdrift and went limp. The area became illuminated in a circle of dancing orange light. And that's the end of the bear. That was it? Oh my god. And then she literally screams, why, ... is this happening? Why is this happening to me is the question. Why did this man sell me this bear scene as like the greatest thing to ever be given to the eyeballs of readers, and yet that is all it was? My god, it's so forgettable. I already can't tell you what happened. It got struck by lightning, I guess, and turned into a giant ball of bear fire and died. That's it? My god. So then Maney wakes up, and somebody, a kid, a guy, a young person, man dude, is like tending to her shoulder, right? Because she got sliced by a bear and then immediately killed that bear. And he's like killing the infection with like isopropyl alcohol. Okay, so he's like, he's like asking her question. He's like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? Sir, why did you write this? This makes no sense. This is not how people interact with each other. A person finds a girl stranded in the snow with a bear having been killed by her, but also she's like sliced open. You're tending to her wound, and you have this teenage boy ask this teenage girl, do you have a boyfriend? You fucking weirdo. And she's like, no. And then she yells at him to give her her necklace back, and he's like, I'm scared of you, and he runs away. And then Mamie starts to leave and gets caught in like a avalanche, and she like just resigns herself to this fate and like curls up in a ball and like goes over a cliff. So 70 years later, that kid who had talked to her has a grandson who finds Mamie's necklace, and a bunch of weird shit ensues where like he gets the necklace and then time slows and he sees all these shadow people and they're like, he's got the precious. And then his grandpa is like, you have to go and take it back to where you found it. Throw it down the mine shaft. And like his friend that he went to the mine shaft with originally and found the necklace with doesn't remember him being there. And his grandpa is like, there's somebody who has like wind powers, and when I was in Vietnam they blew my chopper out of the sky, and it's the same person with the wind powers that killed your dad. And Sean the kid is like, oh, you know what, I've been experiencing some wind powers too, what the fuck. So he goes back to the place where the mountains and the mine shaft where he found the necklace. He's like, wow, it's getting windy. Oh my god. And it gets progressively windier, and Sean yells, what is going on? And for some reason it was at that moment that I said, I can't take this shit anymore. What is going on? I don't care. I don't care what's happening. I don't care who has the wind powers, if it's Mamie, if it's somebody else. I don't care, because this book literally starts out with a farmer saying unironically, winter is coming. And then that farmer sees all of the crystals come from the heavens, and he goes and touches one, and he lights his wife on fire, and then he dies too. And then you never find out like how many crystals are there, what are they all doing. Like King Dukma never showed up in 20% of this book. I don't understand the world. I don't understand the crystals. I don't understand why Mamie has 2 crystals. I don't understand why we had a 70-year time jump. I don't understand why it should matter to me that everybody in Sean's family is getting killed by wind powers. I don't care if it's Mamie doing it. There is not a thing. At 20% in, you should have a general idea of your plot, your setting, your characters. You should maybe like or really hate one of your characters. Instead, there's like nothing. It's just a plate of dry, boring crackers that was supposed to lead into a book that is obviously going nowhere. There's nowhere it can possibly go. There's no setup. There's no character development. There's nothing. This book has nothing. I should not read 20% of a book and have there be nothing to take away from it. Seriously? Nothing? Only a man in 2022, a white man, would get on Beyonce's internet and have the audacity to claim that this was a good book ready to be published. This was hottest of garbaggio. It was so bad. It was so stupid. And you cannot make me waste my time. I only waste my time if I think that it's worth making a laugh out of. This does not have anything worth laughing at. It's just bad. Like, it's just unenjoyably, depressingly bad. So there you go. There was the bear scene. Can you believe that that was the bear scene? My god, that man hyped up his bear scene so hard for it to literally just be like, Rey from Star Wars 3 shot lightning, and then Chewbacca the bear died. Like, what the fuck? That was the 20% I read of JM Arlen's The Crystal Keeper, and it's absolutely terrible. Would not recommend to my worst enemy. Well, maybe actually. Would recommend to my worst enemy. Would recommend as a form of torture. That's it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, all links are down below to Ko-fi, Patreon. Best way you can support is to like and subscribe. Leave your comments and questions down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!